Have you ever stopped to think about how your body's vital energy might be being wasted without you even realizing it? Imagine if I told you there's an ancient secret about vitality and longevity that many are unaware of. Welcome to a world where the constant loss of a valuable substance may be speeding up the aging process and undermining your physical and mental health without your knowledge. In today's video, we'll delve into this crucial issue that could be affecting you more than you realize. Get ready to uncover the secrets behind vital energy and how knowing these hidden truths can change your life. This is an invitation to a journey of self-discovery and transformation that could revolutionize your life. Are you ready to unravel this mystery and take control of your destiny? Then don't waste any more time and join me on this enlightening journey. When a man loses his seed in generation or sex, he wastes his creative substance and thereby hastens death. He may be unconscious of the reasons behind his constant awareness of life's unpredictability and the persistent fear of death. This exists within the average individual as long as they are honest and willing to acknowledge it. Punishment for wasting life fluid is not an act of supernatural revenge, but the physiological consequence of losing the power that animates the body. This doesn't happen suddenly but gradually. This gradual decline we call old age is the natural result of sex. Aging is simply the product of weakened sex glands due to previous abuse, as evidenced by the following statements by Dr. Voronov. Elderly men are actually eunuchs. I have never known a eunuch to exceed the age of 60. Long before death, they have the appearance of old men, and from this one might be tempted to attribute a very advanced age to them. But it would be a pure illusion. They have every appearance of effectively aged dry skin, swollen bodies, dull eyes, a stooped posture, giving the impression that they are older than 100 years. It seems like death is the normal end of old age, but the verification of facts usually indicates that they died when they were between 50 and 60 years old. Their aspect is the outcome of being deprived of the essential factor of youth and vitality. They prematurely aged and died long before the term typically reached by normal men. The absence of internal secretions from the sex glands leads to a shorter life. A body without these important organs, when suppressed, leads to poor blood quality, brittle bones, weaker muscles, increased fat, and inadequate nutrition, experiencing inevitable overall weakening. It becomes more susceptible and less able to resist the factors that typically cause death long before the normal physiological age. It can then be confirmed that depriving the interstitial glands of internal secretion accelerates the onset of old age and shortens life. On the flip side, maintaining this reservoir of life energy serves as the ultimate assurance of longevity. Men endowed with active interstitial glands, whose function remains unabated, can age significantly. Even an aged man can experience temporary rejuvenation by grafting the testicles of a goat or a monkey. He would likely never have attained such advanced age if achieved under normal circumstances through a continent lifestyle. Senility, not a byproduct of sterility or impotence, arises from continual sexual indulgence. Just as any other weak part of the body, weakened sex glands can be restored to their natural state by preserving their secretions and purifying the blood through a wholesome diet. The medieval alchemists were essentially early endocrinologists, seeking not the alchemical transformation of base metals into gold, but the refinement and sublimation of sexual energy. When denied its lower outlet, this energy transmutes into higher brain power through the ascent of the Kundalini force from the pelvis to the brain. Their pursuit was the preservation and transmutation of this life force, their elixir for eternal youth and the key to the physical immortality they sought. Dr. Junior Brinkley, a distinguished endocrinologist, elucidates the physiological rationale for preserving sexual hormones. He asserts that all human energy stems from sexual energy, indicating that the human glandular system is an interconnected network of loops, mutually influencing each other. The secretions from the genital gland in particular possess the remarkable ability to directly stimulate and influence the human body and mind, largely through their unique hormonal composition. These hormones, produced by the sex glands and distributed throughout the bloodstream, nourish all the body's tissues. An English physician, Dr. Nags, also delves into this topic. Strict continence offers the possibility of reabsorbing the essence of these sexual secretions within the body. This not only ensures good health, but also cultivates the creative, intellectual, and intuitive abilities that manifest in our endeavors. Moreover, mastering control over this reproductive function, Internalizing the potent forces it embodies marks a resolution of one of the significant existential dilemmas that bring us closer to the superhuman stage we must ultimately attain. Senility can be permanently cured. Death is not an abrupt event, but rather the culmination of a gradual process of decline. This process of cellular disintegration can commence at birth, accelerated by consuming spoiled, dead food and by expelling seminal fluid. When preserved within the body, the elixir of eternal youth is retained. Underdeveloped individuals may view sex as merely a pastime, something solely for their amusement. However, developed individuals understand that this creative power holds far greater significance than being squandered in heedless indulgence. The sex glands serve as the engines of the human body, the generators of organic energy. Preserved, this energy can become the driving force behind all life achievements. The prevalent notion that most geniuses led immoral lives is erroneous. An examination of their biographies reveals quite the opposite. Creative prowess, whether in artistic or intellectual realms, arises from the sublimated expression of the same life energy typically expended through sexual channels. Hence, the supermen and the great geniuses of the past consistently adhered to strict continence. Conversely, those less gifted individuals who did not follow suit may not be categorized among the spiritually highest. Their work lacks a certain subtle quality present in a Beethoven symphony or a painting by Leonardo da Vinci, emanating solely from the sublimation of sexual energy. Noteworthy figures who rigorously pursued continent lives include John the Baptist and Jesus, the greatest prophets, St. Paul, Thomas Aquinas, St. Catherine of Siena, St. Teresa of Avila, Joan of Arc, and Savonarola, the greatest mystics and martyrs, Pythagoras, Plato, Aristotle, Francis Bacon, Spinoza, Leibniz, Locke, Pascal, and Kant, the greatest philosophers, Newton, the greatest scientist, Beethoven, the greatest composer, and Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Raphael, the greatest painters. These great men, during the continent creative periods of their lives, include Moses, Buddha, St. Paul, Plutarch, St. Augustine, Dante, and St. Francis. The chastity observed by the supermen is not only rooted in spiritual and ethical principles, but also in physiological realities. These encompass a body of physiological truths concerning the origin and transformation of vital energy, as well as the intimate connection between the sex glands and the lymphatic, vascular, and nervous systems. The human body, akin to a dynamo, directly taps into electrical energy from the ether through lung and skin respiration. This etheric energy is absorbed and accumulated at the solar plexus, the battery of the sympathetic nervous system. Known as life force, this electrical energy then migrates to the sex glands, where, combined with elements from the blood, it condenses into seminal fluid. This fluid carries vital energy to various nerve centers and bodily organs via ductless glands. In females, sexual secretion travels from the ovaries through the fallopian tubes to the uterus, while in males, it moves from the testes through the vas deferens to the seminal vesicles. These reservoirs, surrounded by lymphatic vessels, swiftly absorb sexual energy. The lymphatics collect this fluid in the Killy container, transporting it through the thoracic duct into the left subclavian vein, ultimately reaching the heart. This revitalizes the blood, facilitating the conversion of inert food into living tissue, which then spreads throughout the body via the arterial system. The transformed sexual secretion ascends to the brain through the blood, nourishing its cells in the choroid plexus of the third cerebral ventricle and the pituitary body, providing energy. It then transforms into cerebrospinal fluid and pituitrin, coursing through the brain and spinal canal, generating nerve electricity. Constant loss of seminal fluid diminishes cerebrospinal fluid, resulting in a weakened nervous system known as neurasthenia. During sleep, a fresh supply of cerebrospinal fluid is generated. Energy absorbed by the sympathetic nervous system, transported by sexual secretions, recharges the central nervous system after daily activities exhaust it. Disturbances in cerebral spinal fluid energy lead to lethargy or a desire to sleep. Recharging takes 3 to 5 hours, and excessive sleep can dissipate the newly generated energy through uncontrolled cerebral activity in dreams. The elements of sexual secretion, vital for nourishing brain cells and nerves, undergo a transformation from their raw state obtained from food to a vitalized state suitable for incorporation into nerve tissue. The sex glands act as centers of phosphorus metabolism, extracting raw phosphorus from assimilated food and chemically transforming it into their secretion for absorption and utilization by brain cells. Loss of this vital fluid, whether voluntary or involuntary, depletes the blood of phosphorus, depriving the brain of essential nutrition. Every drop of seminal fluid lost brings diseases, nerve deviations, mental decline, old age, and death closer, unless the loss of life force accompanying the secretion of vaginal and uterine secretions in females is restricted. One becomes akin to a leaking vessel, continually losing the water of life and gradually approaching demise. A seminal emission signifies the leakage of developing brain tissue. Past beliefs about separate sexual secretions, one internal, produced by interstitial cells, and another external, produced by reproductive glands, are erroneous. The secretions of genital glands, encompassing those of the uterus, seminal vesicles, ovaries, and testes, form an inseparable unity. All elements are continually generated and absorbed by the lymphatic system. Sperm and eggs aren't produced intermittently for reproductive purposes, but are consistently absorbed by the lymphatic system into the bloodstream, serving internal functions. Physiologically, there's only one sexual secretion, with the so-called external secretion being a pathological deviation from it. Dr. Brinkley, the endocrinologist, concisely states my opinion that both the external and internal secretions of the gonads are equally valuable for building body tissues. The gonads aren't merely a link in the chain of the endocrine system, they hold the master position. The well-being of all endocrine glands hinges precisely on the health of the gonads. The thyroid glands, for example, can most readily be restored by revitalizing the gonads, thereby affecting an individual's spiritual and mental well-being directly through the absorbed sexual fluid carried by the bloodstream. There's a close interdependence between the genital and thyroid glands, as well as between the latter and the brain. Inadequate thyroid secretion leads to cretinism, while reduced sexual secretion leads to a eunuch, an individual physically and mentally underdeveloped during puberty. Increased sexual secretion in the blood prompts heightened thyroid secretion, fostering rapid physical and mental development. Conversely, reduced sexual secretion during senility causes thyroid shrinkage, leading to physical and mental degeneration. Dr. Voroff writes that no organ can maintain its vital energy and function fully unless its cells are stimulated and vitalized by the internal secretion of the genital gland. Eunuchs provide a clear demonstration of this. Deprivation of this one organ suppresses and weakens the functioning of all others, hastening premature old age. The removal of these organs impacts not only the body, but also moral and physical energies. Abelard, the brilliant poet, ceased writing after being emasculated. When a pure and orderly life reabsorbs sexual secretions, they return to circulation, ready to form the finest brain nerves and muscle tissue. This life essence, carried back and spread through the system, makes one manly, strong, brave, and heroic. The reproductive organ's use correlates with noticeable increases in physical and mental strength. Unused sexual energy can be redirected to build a keen brain and more vital nerves and muscles, enhancing spiritual life. Powerful and subtle chemical elements secreted in the reproductive glands are absorbed into the blood, invigorating cells, organs, and the nervous system. Some suggest that old age results mainly from a decrease in the supply of these secretions. Nature decrees that all sex gland secretions be retained in the body, akin to other ductless gland secretions. The sex glands are the only endocrine glands whose secretions can escape, leading to glandular deviations and accompanying pathological symptoms. The body, mind, and soul's normal development and well-being hinge directly on absorbed sexual fluid. Thus, an absolutely continent life is the only healthy, natural, and creative one. As we come to the end of our journey into the secrets of vital energy, it's crucial to reflect on how this knowledge impacts our daily lives. Are we inadvertently squandering our most precious resource, hastening our own decline without realizing it? The truth unveiled in this video may be uncomfortable, but it's a wake-up call to reclaim control over our health and vitality. Now that you're armed with this invaluable insight, it's time to take action. Hit that like button if you found this information eye-opening, subscribe to our channel for more enlightening content, and don't forget to share this video with friends and family. Together, let's empower ourselves to live healthier, more fulfilling lives. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and until next time, stay curious and stay informed.